Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Jacob Bennett with Bulldog Analytics, and today we're going to be discussing how to apply formatting to multiple visuals at the same time using Power BI Desktop. Now, this is a brand new feature as of the February 2024 Power BI Desktop release, and I think it's a great feature that allows for convenience when it comes to applying consistency and alignment in your formatting and how the visuals appear to the end user. So without wasting a whole lot more time, let's go ahead and dive in and look at a dashboard that I have designed where we can display these new features. All right, as you can see on my screen, I've got a beautiful dashboard. I think everyone would agree it's rather well designed. And the idea today is that I want to provide some standardization, consistency, alignment around the formatting of the visuals within my dashboard. So as you can see, we've got some card visuals up here that have key metrics. We've also got some bar and column charts down here, as well as a donut chart. And then up here at the top, I've got a wonderful text box displaying a title for my report. And then I've got a last report refresh date. Now, if anyone's interested in how to create a last report refresh date to include in your report, I've got a video on that. Feel free to check it out. It's very simple. All right, let's start it off by trying to apply some standardization and alignment in these metric cards across the top here. Now, obviously, you would never have cards with this varied amount of formatting already in existence. I'm obviously doing it to paint a picture. But to start off our multi-visual formatting approach, you need to select all the cards, or all the visuals, I should say, that you want to apply the standardization formatting to. So let's go ahead and click on each visual, control click, click. Now, for those of you that don't know, to select multiple visuals, you can use the control button on your keyboard, or you can simply take your mouse and drag it over all the visuals that you want to include. Now, for example, if I were to drag this all the way up and I accidentally included the title, all I need to do is click control, select it, and it will unselect. Somehow this visual over here got unselected as well, so I'm going to click that. Now that we've got all four cards that we want to apply formatting to, you'll see that the formatting pane is accessible to me. So I'm going to start off at the top in the size and style section. So I want to apply a consistent height and width to all of these visuals so that they have the same look about them. So let's start off here by maybe just arbitrarily choosing 175 for the height, and I think that looks pretty good. Obviously, this isn't on the same horizontal plane, but we'll get to that here in just a second. From a width standpoint, you see this guy is a good bit wider than these other three, so maybe we'll choose 175 for that as well. That's a little narrow. Maybe we'll go 195. All right, I think that's good enough. Now down here, we define the horizontal and vertical positioning of our selected visuals, and so in order to keep it on the same horizontal plane across, we want to make sure that the vertical option aligns. So let's arbitrarily kind of select 105. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and move this up a bit. And now they're all on the same plane here. Now you'll notice that this guy over here is kind of not distributed equally like these other three. And there's actually a trick for this. This is a little side tip, but if I were to slide this over to kind of get it more in line with the other three, go ahead and select all of those again. If I come up to Format, drop down Align, and then come down here and click Distribute Horizontally, it applies an equal spacing based on the left-hand border of the far left visual to the right-hand border of the far right visual, and kind of fits them on that plane. So if I were to actually squeeze these together a little tighter, if I wanted them to be closer together, I could select Format, Align, Distribute Horizontally, and it would space them out equally in that space. Or if I wanted to spread them across a bigger distance, then I could select them, Format, Align, Distribute Horizontally. It doesn't really make sense to space them out this far, so we'll revert back to the other way. I liked how that looked. All right, so as far as spacing goes, I think that these look pretty good. However, we still have some work to do from a formatting standpoint. So let's come back, select all of our visuals. From size and style, we'll move down to callout value. So let's sync these up as far as font and size go. First, we'll start with font. Let's come down to Segoe UI. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I think that's a good default value for Power BI reports. Let's drop that font size down to about 40. Let's go even further down to maybe 30. All right, we're starting to look a little bit more in line. Because we're selected here and I see that it overlaps a little bit with the title, I'm going to slide this down just a little bit. All right, now from a colors perspective, I see all are black except there's one purple. Maybe we want all of them to be blue, so I'll select blue there. awesome. As far as display units go, you can change that from auto to different options, but because we have both dollars as well as count data here, I'm going to leave that alone. I don't want to see any decimal points, so I'm going to click 0 on that, and that will standardize it from that standpoint. From there, now that we've got some consistency applied, it really just comes down to making it look good. So up here under size and style, I'm going to come down to background. Maybe we'll make it have a slightly gray background. I don't know if that's a good design option or not. From a visual border standpoint, maybe we want to turn that on. We want to make the corners rounded slightly. But I click out of that and I think that they look pretty good. If anything, they actually look a little bit tall. So maybe I can come back in here, go to the height and drop that to like 130. All right, now we're looking good. I will mention that another feature that already existed, which we are all very familiar with, is Format Painter, especially for visuals that share similar visual elements or they're the same type of visual. For example, these cards, that Format Painter will work great. For example, if I were to switch the background of one of these to a different color, came in and format painted the other ones, it would match it exactly. So that is still an option and it's very convenient, and wanted to point that out while we're in here. Now let's run through these other examples quickly. Maybe I want to standardize these bottom 3 visuals to at least have the same feel about them. So obviously the title is blown out of proportion on that last one. So let's come in here. Let's change the font size to like 22. You'll see that that kind of standardizes them. It looks like you have to scroll on this far left one. So maybe we come up to size and style and change the height to 325. That looks like enough to do it. Let's confirm that the visuals also sit on the same plane. So we can pick a value in here. Drag it down, looks good. I'll reselect those and come up to Format, Align to ensure that these distribute evenly as well. Now I do want to call one thing out. These 3 visuals down here at the bottom are 3 different visual types. So when I select all 3 of them, we're actually limited when you get into it over which visual formatting we can apply. As you can see, we're limited to just size and style and the title. Now for the 2 visuals on the left, they are different types, yes, and when you select them, they only have the size and style and title available to them. I've noticed sometimes though it still does let me change the color. I don't know. Right now I'm only selecting the 2, but I don't have access to be able to change the bar or column colors. One thing that does work though is if I were to change this color to this off yellow, for instance, I can format paint over to this and it seamlessly carries over that change just fine. So just a little note there. I will say I am aware obviously of the alignment feature where if you kind of snap it into place, it has those red lines that show alignment. And when you resize, it kind of does the same thing as well, where it shows that you're lined up. I've leaned into this heavily in the past, especially when organizing multiple cards next to each other. I'm sure you have too. I have noticed though over time that sometimes it can be a point or 2 off when you look at the size and style. So I really like that I can line these up and then select on the same vertical positioning to ensure that they're lined up together. All right guys, that's all I've got today for this topic around formatting multiple visuals at once. If you learned something new or enjoyed it, then feel free to share with your colleagues, subscribe to my channel, follow along for future videos. I've got a lot of good stuff planned, very excited. Hopefully we'll have some new stuff rolling out this week, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.